Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Sammy Jo Smith here with WCRA and Scott Davis, our Vice President. Scott, thanks for being the soldier, and we're going to
Absolutely. Lots of exciting stuff going on with Women's Rodeo World Championship. So I'll be on every week. That's what we need.
I love it. Well, we do have some great information to bring to all of you today, talking about expanded point events. We have our team roping event happening this weekend in Decatur, Texas at the Fall Championships with Kenny Zamora and Sherry Hamilton. And then next weekend, we head to Guthrie, Oklahoma with Chris Neal and the Oklahoma's Richest Breakaway roping and bring expanded points there, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about the points that are actually going to be awarded in every round and how many total points an athlete could walk away if they're entering and competing in those events. So we're going to hit on that today. And then we're also going to touch on some frequently asked questions about the Women's Rodeo World Championship. But first, for anybody that's new joining us, let's talk about when the Women's Rodeo World Championship is and where. So the overall dates are November 8th through the 15th. November 13th through the 15th will be our championship round. The top 6 in barrel racing, breakaway roping, and team roping will be competing inside AT&T Stadium during the PBR World Finals performances. And then and I'm actually
and featured on CBS Sports Network during the PBR World Finals broadcast. So huge deal with this event relocation and a little bit of a date change, but that's a big time platform for the ladies, and we're really excited about it. PBR's excited about it. So it's going to be awesome to hand the champion that $60,000 check right there, on the floor of AT&T CBS Sports Network. It's going to be a big deal.
Absolutely. And so we actually shared this graphic on WCRA Athletes Facebook page. This is the tentative competition schedule. Keep in mind, once entries close, we'll be able to set the times in stone. But for now, you can plan accordingly with this schedule. And so that those championship rounds, as I mentioned, the 13th through the 15th, a discipline a night will go and compete at AT&T Stadium. And then all of the other qualifying rounds will be at Will Rogers Memorial Center November 8th through the 12th in Fort Worth, Texas. So again, Scott, talk about, you went and visited Will Rogers. Talk about
it's one of the top equine facilities on earth, pretty much, in my opinion. Of course, I'm partial to stuff in Texas, but it's a tremendous facility. They had some openings there where we're going to be able to squeeze in between some major fall equine shows, but we were lucky enough to get the main arena in the Will Rogers Coliseum, a couple of adjacent arenas. There's a sea of stalls available there. It's a great facility. The ABBI, American Bucking Bull Inc., which is also paired with PBR World Finals, will be happening adjacent to where the Women's Rodeo World Championship qualifying rounds are. So lots of folks in and around the grounds there at the Will Rogers complex, and it's a tremendous facility. Hosted the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo for a long time, or rodeo mainly in the Will Rogers Coliseum prior to their move to the Dickies Arena. But it's a tremendous facility. They've welcomed us with open arms, considering the circumstances. So we're pretty excited about getting to go there. On a facility note, and separate and aside from just the facts that we're going to talk about with Women's World Championship today, make sure everybody that plans to attend this event book your stalls on openstalls.com, and I'll promise you a an experience like no other as far as getting your stalls during this event. That's another product that our sister company, Rodeo Logistics, launched early this spring. But openstalls.com. And listen, we're going to take care of you, hand to mouth, the whole deal. We're really excited about this inaugural Women's Rodeo World Championship. And we got a great home in the Will Rogers Complex in Fort Worth. And we got a big deal with the AT&T finale and the CBS Sports Network coverage. So all things considered, this is a great move, and it's going to be an awesome event. And listen, I know that we camped out on it last time I was on Facebook Live. The days are running together. I think that was last week. I'm not sure, but we talked a lot about the payout, right? And still, you know, I think it's really important for everyone to realize that as we talked in previous broadcasts here, it's $750,000 guaranteed. It doesn't matter if we have 300 entries or 700 entries. It's $750,000 guaranteed. Everybody that makes the main event is guaranteed. We have the open pools. We have the challenger pools. If you compete, if you're a woman and you compete at all in the sport of rodeo, we hope that that you'll log in at entrytool.com if you are not on the leaderboard and enter this event. And we got some really exciting opportunities. As you know, Sammy Joe, the leaderboard remains open until October 18th. And there's some big time events coming up in the very near future. But generally speaking, nominations remain open, and especially in heading and healing, which are new to our platform for the women. You know, one nomination right now would likely get you need 4 points to be in the top 64 and participate in this event in the leaderboard pool at no cost. No entry fee, right? So plenty of nomination opportunities left. Open entries remain open and will till you just pulled this up October 25th. And so it's a huge opportunity. I talked to some people the other day and they said, we want to come. We don't know, or we don't understand. And I said, it's really, really simple. If you're participating in the WCRA platform already, keep nominating. Be in the top 64. You won't pay a single cent in entry fee to compete in the leaderboard pool. Or if you don't know anything about what we're doing, log in at entrytool.com, pay a $750 entry fee. We'll see you there. And oh, by the way, you can enter twice if you would like, right? So the format is very complex, but at the end of the day, it's really, really simple. Enter. That's all you got. If you don't know anything else, enter.
Absolutely. And I have had that question several times of like, hey, if I haven't nominated or I haven't participated previously with WCRA, am I eligible to enter the open and compete at the Women's Rodeo World Championship? The answer is absolutely. And you do still have time. I mean, we're going to get into this fall championship in Oklahoma's Richest with the expanded points. You do still have time to nominate and get on that WCRA leaderboard pool. But if not, anybody out there, anyone, you could November 7th decide, hey, I want to show up and I want to rope. And there will be a late entry fee, but come on in. Yeah. So
come on in. And we talked last week as well about the nearly $1.2 million that'll be paid out to women rodeo competitors, specifically in North Texas that week. What a week in November. Come to North Texas, bring your piggy bank, enter, and leave with a sack full, right? If it's not, if you don't get it at ours, there's opportunities with the WPRA finals if you qualify or participate in their ancillary events, or the inaugural Cowgirl Gathering, which is going to pay a ton of money as well.
Well, and again, just kudos to all organizations working together, doing their best to make it where you can go to every event We're going to do our best to make sure you're not conflicted and you don't have to make the choice. You can go to all of it. So yeah, don't, if you've been like, I don't want to, I may not be able to go to everything, you can.
Absolutely. Well, and
yeah.
there were a lot of, look, let's be honest, there were a lot of invisible barriers there historically. And, I'm proud to say that we've been able to knock those barriers down with those events. Everyone has welcomed this opportunity. It wasn't us busting those barriers. It was in WCRA, it was each organization saying, look at all this opportunity for women in rodeo right now. Let's embrace it. Let's work together to reduce or eliminate these conflict potentials. And so, that's major stuff in our industry. As you and I both know, we've been involved in this for a long, long time. But that level of cooperation between organizations should be championed. And I wish more people understood the challenges for each organization to make those sacrifices, but the willingness to do so, and the fact that it's never really been done before. So look, I'm proud to work with the folks at the Cowboy Gathering who are launching a tremendous event for women. We're attempting the same thing, but we're embracing and supportive of the legendary WPRA and the way that they have guided women in rodeo historically. So it's awesome for everybody to be working together and look at all this money. I mean, to some degree or another, when we talk about these events that are coming up, it's laying there on the ground, for you ladies to load your horses up and come down here to Texas and get it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, are we ready? Do we want to jump right into how many points can somebody receive at these upcoming expanded point events?
Well, and Sammy Joe, I made some notes before I did another interview in the last, it's probably been 48 or 72 hours. So some of these might be rough. But just as we step into how many points are available at these upcoming events, I just want everybody to make a mental note. To be 64th in the barrel racing, which is to achieve qualification in the WCRA leaderboard pool and not pay an entry fee for the $750,000 event, you need to have about 55 points. Right now, that's going to change, and it will change as a result of some of these upcoming events that we're going to talk about. But you need 55 points in the barrels. You need 76 in the breakaway. You need 4 in the team roping heading, and you need 2 in the team roping heeling. So ladies, dust off the rope cans, pay attention to some of these events that Sammy Joe and I are fixing to talk about, and get out there and enter them. Get yourself some points and run it this money with no entry fee.
Yeah, exactly. So the first event that is coming up this weekend is the Fall Championships in Decatur, Texas. We have 4 expanded points, and just remember, your nomination is included in your entry fee. So there's no need to go to app.wcra rodeo and pay an additional nomination fee. You enter, you're in, and you're eligible to receive points. And so that's in the open team roping. And there's also the WCRA Challenger roping. Both are Division 4. Both are 2 rounds and a 15-team short round. And it's pick one, draw one. So let's talk about, really, the point structure is the same. So long as there's 20 teams in each, or entered, right, Scott? 20 teams
Correct.
entered, we will award 20 places points. So first place is looking to get 33 points for winning, all the way down to 20th with 3 points. Now, if you remember, it's right here on the screen, 4 points are needed in the heading to get to the Women's Rodeo World Championship. You could place last twice, or 20th, I should say, 20th twice, and you're in the top 64.
Absolutely. And listen, as we talk about some of these events, and Sammy Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the early entries have closed with some of these events, but all of them are taking walk up or late entries, right? So ladies, if you're out there listening and you're thinking about going somewhere to rope this weekend, this is a place to go. As Sammy Joe just pointed out, you finished 20th in both rounds. You got enough points to go in the leaderboard pool with no entry fees to the Women's Rodeo World Championship. Now, that's in the team roping. That is in the team roping, right? I mean, you also have to. I do want to put a disclaimer out here that each of these disciplines, you know, as you pointed out, and you put this lower third on, that different amounts of points are required in each discipline. That what we're doing today is trying to explain very generally the opportunity and potential with expanded points events. As you remember, we found ourselves in a little bit of a gutter with some gals because some expanded points events happened earlier in the season this season. This is a new initiative for us, but it's important for the ladies to realize the depth and width of points. The truest definition of expanded points is more people get more points. There's not more points available. It still pays 33 to win first in the round. It still pays 3 to win last in the round, or 20 as deep as points go, right? So it's not double points. It's not triple points. It's not any of that. The points are exactly the same. They're just proportioned differently between the top hole and the bottom hole. So expanded points, lots of them available. First opportunity this weekend, Fall Classic, Team Roping, Open, and Challenger.
And let's also talk about why these points are available in every single round. And the answer to that is every single round pays. So not only are you roping for these points to advance to our Women's Rodeo World Championship, but you're also roping for money in every round, which isn't always common. A lot of times in team roping, you're roping for the progressive and you're only getting paid in the average. So for the fact of these producers to guarantee money in every round is pretty awesome too. There's going to be a lot of checks walking away, right, from this event. So
absolutely. That's a great point, Sammy Joe. And I do want to mention to those out there listening that, you know, we have worked very closely with the promoters that have hosted these expanded points events to ensure, as our good friend Billy Bray said, every time you back in the box, every time you nod your head, every time you throw your rope, you're running for money and for points. So as we encourage the producers to pay in the successive rounds, or potentially in some cases change a standard format or standard way that they've been doing things, it is to provide more point earning opportunities because, as you pointed out, WCRA, the leaderboard platform, pays points in every paid round. So as we move to these multiple go round, short round type formats versus progressive and fast times and things like that, we ensure that more points are available at these events.
Yeah. So let's just give some examples for the open team roping at the Fall Championship this weekend. And you can see them over here. We broke down just a few examples of if I were to place first in every round, so 40% of them, that's totaling 176 points. Right now, to be fourth place in the heading, which again, 1 through 4 from the leaderboard as of October 18th, go directly into the main event. So 619.5 points are needed. Those of you maybe sitting in that, 5 to 10 range on the leaderboard, that could easily bump you up into the top 4 to advance directly to the main event. To place in the last paying position, 20th in the go rounds and average and 15th in the final round, you're going to get 16 points. And again, reminder, it was 3 points in the heading to be in the top 64 and advance to the Women's Rodeo World Championship. So again, why wouldn't you, right, Scott?
Absolutely. I think that's a fantastic point, Sammy Joe, because the way that expanded points is built to work is just as you're laying out here, right? It's to increase the importance of a particular event, earning opportunity to shift the leaderboard, and that's what this event will do. There are women that will show up to this roping because they've already entered. There will be some that walk up based on their them maybe watching this, right? But they have a chance if they're 15th to get a ton of points and hop into that top 4. Guess what? No fees, top 4, main event, everybody gets a paycheck, right? So it's literally a no-brainer. You're talking about somebody coming down to this event and paying a $250 entry fee. Their nomination is included in the entry fee. You have this wealth of points available. They could absolutely catapult themselves into one of these categories, either from nowhere to on the leaderboard and no entry fees in the WCRA leaderboard pool, or find themselves in that top 4 where they pay nothing. They get comp stalls, right? And they're in the main event with a chance to run it all the big money and a guaranteed paycheck.
Yeah. And I also want to encourage, there may be some of you that, nominated one time, you received, 12 points, you're sitting in the 40s or 50s on the leaderboard right now. And you're like, well, let's just see what happens. After the fall championships this weekend, there may be quite a few girls that get bumped out of the top 64. And I don't want that to be you.
Right.
So, the fall championships, with this many points being awarded in every round, you definitely don't want to miss this event because, we're looking at the open, but there's also the 9.5. And those of you that are eligible to rope in the 9.5, you could be racking up points in this class and enter the open and rack up points in that class as well. Right, Scott? So there's just so many point earning opportunities this weekend. You guys don't want to miss it.
And listen, the better you do, the more you get paid at this event, right? You know what I mean? So obviously we are asking you to opt in and invest through the nomination process for these points, right? And listen, the entry fees related to the Women's Rodeo World Championship for anyone that is entering just out from the cold, not participating in the WCRA platform, they are paying 2 times the money basically in a normal entry fee as the average person is spending to achieve qualification by being in the top 64, right? You have the person, and I don't know who they are, but for instance, in the healing that is currently 64th and has 2 points, they likely paid a $50 nomination fee somewhere, and they are eligible right now to compete in a guaranteed purse of $750,000. Or if you just look at their discipline in an event that pays out $187,500 to that discipline specifically. We talked in weeks previous about the 300 and some odd checks that are going to be written and the average at $2,400, right? From an investment standpoint, it's a no-brainer to attend one of these expanded points events. Because if you do well, you're winning money at the event. If you do well, you're getting a ton of points and jockeying up the leaderboard to potentially bust into that top 4. Or, as you said, don't find yourself sleeping, because at the Northern Breakaway and Team Roping Championships, which was also an expanded point event, I'll put you on the spot, but it had a magnificent effect to the team roping leaderboards, right? There was double-digit increase in people that were added to the leaderboard because they entered that event. The nominations were included in the fees. The expanded points were available, right? So don't find yourself sleeping and don't stop, right? If you're in striking distance, if you're within 100 points of the top 4, you should be in Decatur going to this roping.
Yeah, exactly. And And again, one other reminder of this event, it's a fast track qualifier as well. So the winner is going to get that bonus run in the fast track round, which is only 16 athletes competing. And you have a chance of being in the top 4 to go right into the main event and skip all the other qualifying rounds. So it's benefit after benefit after benefit.
It is. It is. I mean, when you look at that fast track qualifier opportunity, a great example happened last week in the barrel racing. I think it was maybe Lisa Thornton went to the Tejas Rodeo in Bulverde, which was a fast track qualifier. She actually made a conscious decision to not go to an American qualifier in Glen Rose, which is historically very challenging from what I understand. I don't run barrels, but nevertheless, she went to Tejas. She paid a $50 nomination fee. She wins. She's in the fast track, going to run against a max of 15 other girls for 4 spots to go straight to the main event and a guaranteed paycheck. If she's one of those 4 spots, she wins $500. If she makes the main event and falls off her horse, she wins $750, right? So for a $50 nomination investment, the worst that could happen with a good fast track outing for Lisa is a $1,250 payday. So I can't simplify it enough how much sense it makes to dive into this if you're a competitive female in the rodeo business.
Absolutely. And it's the richest week in rodeo for women. And so the opportunity to enter the Cowgirl Gathering, if you're already planning at being in Waco for the WPRA finals, just another no-brainer to be there, enter, and have this opportunity to get, one of, back to last week, we're going to write 312 checks at an average of $2,400 at the Women's Rodeo World Championship.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
So a lot of money to be paid to a lot of people. So very
And we
exciting.
also, if I might, we have the luxury of being the richest event of the richest week, right? So again, backtracking to simplify, ladies, if you're watching and you just don't get it, entrytool.com and enter, or go to one of these expanded points events and catapult yourself up in the leaderboard for no entry fee, or wherever you're going to go rope or ride or run this weekend, nominate it, because if you get some points, you can get some traction, and potentially there's still a couple weeks left. You got a couple of shots to nominate in the next 14 days, if you will. Get after it.
Exactly. So before we move on to the next expanded point event in the breakaway roping, I want to stay on the events happening in Decatur this week and talk about, because it's not just the expanded points that's going to be happening. And bear with me while I get us to the next slide. But in the barrel racing in Decatur, you see it here. The World Series Barrel Racing Open Finale is a Division III event. Your nominations included in your entry, and that is a fast track qualifier.
Boom.
In the team roping, we just talked about it, the 9.5 and the open fast track qualifier, as well as the expanded point events. And again, your nominations included in your entry. And then over in the breakaway roping, still quite a few opportunities, but this coming weekend in Decatur, we have the World Series Open Breakaway, the World Series Breakaway Finale. And so again, nomination included in entry, and those are fast track qualifiers as well.
Yeah, and I think just for clarity there, right? I mean, that's that breakaway in Decatur on Thursday, fast track qualifier, and then the one on Friday, fast track qualifier, right? 2 separate ropings, 2 separate fast track qualification opportunities.
Exactly. Awesome. So now let's move into the Oklahoma's Richest breakaway roping, which will also be awarding expanded points here in 2 weeks. And this chart also looks familiar because the format for the challenger in the breakaway is the same. It's a 2-head top 15 short. It's a Division IV. So as we talked about, every round is paid, which again is fantastic. And then we will award points to 20 places in the rounds and the average, and then 15 in the finals, because there'll be 15 breakaway ropers in that round. So the point totals, again, are the same in those examples we gave: 176 points if you win every round, or 16 total points if you're in those last paying holes. Or let's just use 10th as an example. If you win 10th in every round, you're going to get 80.5 points. To be 64th right now, you need 75.5 points. You could
Boom.
be 10th in every round and be in the top 64, nominating one, or entering and nominating one event.
Absolutely. That's a great point.
And I mean, we could just keep going through examples of, 9th place here, 6th place here. I mean, there's just so many points available in that challenger breakaway roping. And for those of you that are wondering what is a challenger, just a reminder, we have validated everybody that's pre-entered. If you're a walk-up entry or a late entry, we'll actually have a representative on site who will validate that you are a challenger, and your earnings just have to be below and I'll go over to that just so we can look at it quickly. Where are we? So in the breakaway roping, in 2020, your earnings need to be below 8,000, 2019, 7,000, and 2018, 5,000. And Rodeo Logistics, our sister company, is building this ranking system to determine that. So that is what classifies you as a challenger. We'll just bump back over here. So that's the challenger. Then the open is a Division II event. So
big roping.
Win first in every round, and it's this roping is 3 rounds, 15 short and an average. If you won first in every round, you're looking at getting 627 points. To be in the top 4 right now is 936.25. You could 627 points. Oh my gosh, that would be insane if somebody did that.
That would be awesome, right? I mean, somebody could come from a long way down the leaderboard to relevancy. And look, if you've entered in a couple of other of these events, right, in the next, 14 days, I keep saying the wrong date, it ends the 18th, in the next 11 days, right? Like, what kind of point? You could be sitting down there in 34th or 5th, and 1, think you're safe, as you said earlier, but 2, run a little math. Just take half of that, 315 points. What's that going to do to you on the leaderboard? You can see the leaderboard right in the app on your phone. Like, if you gals are listening out there, you've got to make it a point to get to these roping where the expanded points are available, and you could change the whole outcome of your Women's Rodeo World Championship qualifying process. Who wants to go rope 2 with some of the best in the world in the WCRA leaderboard and get into the Elite 18 and advance out of that, right? Like, if you could secure a position in the top 4, it's a no-brainer, because you're going straight to the big show.
Yeah. Well, in Oklahoma's Richest, Chris is going to be putting on an awesome event full of tons of activities. There's going to be a couple match ropings going on. And I mean, the open breakaway, he's guaranteed 10,000 added.
That's
so
awesome.
It's going to be big paychecks. And again, with these points, I mean, those of you competing in the open that are also challenger eligible, you could be in both. And so walk-up entries, those there will be a $50 late fee. No big deal. Show up, enter. Don't want to miss this.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Sammy Joe. I mean, just because you qualify to rope in the challenger doesn't mean you can't rope in the open. And there's a big pile of money available there. So, as optimistically as I possibly could, I mean, enter both, right?
Our buddy Marcus just commented, "I'm starting to get mad at being a male. I can enter as Marcy, right?"
I think the ground rules say biological female, but
oh, that's funny, Marcus. And But good point. I mean, anybody that is joining us, if you have questions, drop them in the comments. We want to engage with you guys, and we're happy
Please.
to answer
if
any
you're
questions.
listening and you can think of anything, like that's what this whole platform is about for us. And we've been hosting this weekly since I can't remember. There's a lot that I can't remember today, but I mean, that's what this is for. It's an opportunity right now to ask a question and get an answer without having to pick up the phone and call somebody. So great opportunity today to visit directly with people.
Lisa,
so yeah,
this is amazing. Crazy money. Absolutely, Lisa. It's a great time to be a lady roper or barrel racer and take home these checks. So
it is.
Well, I mean, I think again, like 10th place in every round in the open, you're looking at 219.5 points. Just that reminder again, every round is paid, which is why we're awarding points in every single round. And so long as there are 20 teams, which in the open, that's a guarantee. We will award down to those 20 places in the rounds that have 20 teams in it. So if you have, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, for everybody that's listening now and how these expanded points opportunities are going to influence the leaderboard as we come in on the tail end of this segment in advance of Women's Rodeo World Championship, these opportunities are going to be available in 2021. So just as you start to get a grasp on expanded points and the effects that it can have on a leaderboard, we're going to have a full year of qualification opportunities for the 2021 Women's Rodeo World Championship. And just remember expanded points, because you're going to start to see some of that imagery and collateral on these promoters' posters and ads and things like that. And look, if it has expanded points on it and you're trying to make decisions on where you're going to go that week or weekend, go to the expanded point one, because this one, it's going to have a tremendous effect. It has now, and it will even more so when we have a full year to run at these qualifications. I mean, we just opened this women's segment in May 18th, I believe, something like that. So,
you got it.
So yeah, we're going to have 6 more months to pile into the leaderboard competition leading up to next year's event, and these expanded points events will be premium.
Absolutely. So before we jump into our frequently asked questions, I just want to share these graphics one more time on these expanded point events. So Oklahoma's Richest, these are all the facts we just talked about. We will be sharing these graphics on our Facebook pages. So please share this information, because we break down on the bottom here, Oklahoma's Richest, the events that will be expanded points. As we talked about, walk-up entries will be accepted. And if you have questions, you can contact our team. What the current point cutoffs are in the breakaway roping, and then those different examples of winning first in every round. Here's the total amount of points you could win. Winning, the last place paid position, this is how many points. So yeah, definitely check out these graphics on our Facebook page. And then this one is our team roping one.
Well, and Sammy Joe, I mean, I want to point out that these materials that you and our team have developed are to help broaden awareness and educate folks on the potentials and the possibilities. You just showed the charts where you show what we're paying out from an expanded points opportunity, but this collateral is meant to project and assist in the decision-making process for the athletes and inform them on the opportunity. But it's not I mean, if we went through a case-by-case basis, we just showed the spreadsheet, right? We certainly can't do that in some type of collateral that's advertising the opportunity. So they're meant to inform, and I appreciate our team and what the work you guys have done to put these together and get them out. But a little disclaimer there, this isn't a There's no way that any of us can see right now over events that are multiple go rounds and have a short round and an average. We can only project. What if someone won it straight across at the top or straight across at the bottom? But there'll be a myriad of points combinations that will come from these events. And the main thing is that there'll be a lot of points.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So those are our expanded point events. And then just go back to these upcoming fast track qualifier graphics to touch on, we talked about the World Series, and then this weekend in, it's Guthrie, isn't it? Or is it?
It is Guthrie. It is not in Decatur. That is a typo. Just as I laid all that honey on top of our team for creating this collateral. It's in Guthrie at the Lazy E. And listen, read the fine print right there. That's the open 4D race. But correct me if I'm wrong, Sammy Joe, there's a fast track qualification available to the lady that wins the first round. There's a fast track qualification to the lady that wins the second round. And there's a fast track qualification to the lady that wins the average on those 2 rounds. Am I right? So that's 3 in 1. Anybody that's at the Pink Buckle this weekend, right? Nominate. There are 3 different opportunities for you to jump right into the fast track, like Lisa and I think it's Fonda Melby did last week at Stockyards Championship Rodeo, right? Like right into the event to run against 14, maximum of 15 other ladies for 4 spots and a guaranteed paycheck. How's it getting better than that?
I know. And Georgianne just commented, I'll see you all on Friday in Decatur. She'll be at those World Series events. And Kate Moe, our other representative, she will be in Guthrie at the Pink Buckle as well. So be sure to, if you have questions, we have representatives on site at these events, and they're very friendly. So definitely make sure you approach them and ask them any questions that you have. So that is in the barrel racing. Then next in the team roping, we talked about the 9.5 and the open at Decatur this weekend. And then lastly, in the breakaway roping, we talked about the World Series, Oklahoma's Richest. And then the very last event will be on October 18th in Alva, Oklahoma. It's Stockton Graves Rope for the Roses Open Breakaway, and your nomination is included in your entry fee there as well. So entries for that event remain open until October 11th. And then I do believe Stockton will take walk-ups as well. But go to entrytool.com, enter now. That is that fast track last chance qualifier and standard
all
of
these, the nomination is included in the entry fee, right? So if you gals, if you enter this event, you are paying the nomination fee and therefore eligible for one of those fast track qualifications. So I mean, I think it doesn't, even if it's the challenger event at the Oklahoma's Richest, that fast track, that is a tremendous opportunity to just boom, go straight past all that qualifying tonnage right into the main event. And that payout is a tremendous payout in itself. Everybody in that 24 and 12 rounds are going to get a paycheck.
Yeah. Yep. And Lisa, you just asked, are these upcoming events listed somewhere? These graphics are probably our most up-to-date on what events are happening and where, and these will be shared on our Facebook pages. Otherwise, you can go to our website, and I'll just show you right here, womensrodeoworldchampionship.com. You can scroll down to where it says nominate when you're in, click on that, and then every single nominate when you're in, or like we like to call them fast track qualifier events, are listed here with the athlete that advanced. So that's where you can go and check out. And again, for those of you that are new, womensrodeoworldchampionship.com has all the need to know information about our event. So you can scroll down to the bottom here, there are videos that you can watch about the progression formats for how you compete through the Women's Rodeo World Championship. And we talk about, man, the key dates, the payout, the ground rules are now updated and listed here, everything you need to know. And if there is still a question after you review this website, you can reach out to our team at support.
Awesome. That another job well done by the team here and getting all of that information onto the website and available. It's a click away. And listen, there's a lot of information. Sometimes it can be challenging to find, but it is there. If you find yourself to that page, you can find anything and everything out about Women's Rodeo World Championship. And
so
Sammy Jo,
yeah.
well, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I think I won't. I'll bring this up later. We talk about entries. I got a little excited. Jump the agenda.
And Lisa also just asked, do you have to be a card holder to enter any of these? For the Women's Rodeo World Championship, no, there's no membership fees required for the WCRA. It's just enter open. The only requirement that we do have is in the team roping, where you do need to be a global handicap, have your global handicap membership and classification. Anything to add to that, Scott?
No, ma'am. You're exactly right. It only takes a nomination. In some of these instances where the nominations are included at these events upcoming, all you've got to do is enter those events. You have the fast track qualification opportunities at some. You have the expanded points opportunities at others. And or just if you fall off at these events, these are all alliance events, and you're going to receive consolation points. The gal that we talked about in the healing with that's 64th with 1.5 points, that's a consolation. Somewhere, somehow, there's going to be 1.5 points between 4th and 5th, right? Like, so you can't, any of these events that we talk about are all alliance events, which makes consolation points available, which means if you enter the event, you're going to get some points.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we get to the end of our Facebook Live today, I think we should do a quick fast facts on all of our frequently asked questions. So I'm going to share my screen here on this document that we've created of some of these FAQs. So I'm going to scroll in so everybody can see. This first one, how many times can I enter the WRWC? Do you want to take this one, Scott? I think that's where you were headed with your last point.
Well, yeah, I love this one, right? Because it is that simple. If you don't know anything about what we do, all you got to do is enter a $750 entry fee. Go to entrytool.com. You can enter up to twice in the Open to the World pools. So multiple entry, multiple opportunity. If you're coming from a long ways away, look, we're going to give you 2 shots at it, right? And so it's really pretty simple. Anybody that's on the leaderboard will be in once, right, with no entry fees. And then the Open to the World funnel, you can enter max of 2 times in each discipline.
Yeah. And in the team roping, I just want to mention, if you're planning on roping with the same person in the leaderboard pool as you are in the open pool, just know you can't be entered in both of those pools at the same time. You do have to compete through that leaderboard pool first. If you advance to the main event, then you're not eligible to rope in the qualifying rounds, meaning the Open to the World pool together. But if you don't advance to the main event from the leaderboard pool, then on site, you actually have the benefit, because you were in the leaderboard, of re-entering the Open to the World pool on site. But if you have a second partner today that you know you're going to rope in the Open with, you go to entrytool.com and enter with that second partner now.
And why wouldn't you? if you're going to be there with all this money on the line, Sammy Joe, you might as well have the ability to take a few swings at it, right? The other thing that I want to mention in regards to entering the Open to the World pools, whether it be the Open or the Challenger, correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially, everybody may be sitting around and go, entries don't close till October 25th. They're not going to change the prices. It just gets more expensive after that. But first to enter, last to rope. So in the roping disciplines, if you're coming to this event, enter now, right? Because the sooner you enter, the better opportunity that you're going to have to compete later in the game and know how to, articulate your strategy. And then in the barrel racing, I guess the best way to put it is first to enter, top of the drag. We've got a very, intense, calculated way where, the first one gets the top of the ground, if you will. The second one is going to get the first run after the drag. The third one's get the first run after the second drag, et cetera, et cetera. But there's benefits to entering early or entering now. Don't wait till the last minute, because it's going to affect the competition schedule in each discipline in the Open to the World pools.
Yeah, absolutely. And then lastly, I do want to mention too, for any team ropers that want to enter the Open but don't know how to find a partner, we actually posted, there's a WRWC team roping Facebook group that you can join, and we put a post on it for a partner finder. So I encourage everybody looking for a partner in the Open to join that Facebook group. Message our team at support if you don't know how to find that Facebook group, and we can help you. But that's supposed to help serve as a resource to help you find your partner. So yeah, and as you mentioned, Scott, you can enter now the Open to the World, and we do have the Challenger pool or the Pro pool that you're entering. And those are open until October 25th. And the entry fee is $750. Then those of you advancing after October 18th, when we finalize the leaderboard, everybody in the top 64 will have to enter the event, and those entries will be October 27th through the 29th. And then we will open late entries for anybody that didn't get into the Open to the World pool November 2nd through the 6th, and that will be a $1,000 entry fee. So again, don't wait and have to pay $250 more. Enter now, get in at that $750, and we'll see you in November in Texas. So
absolutely.
And then the next one, the next frequently asked question right here is, how many athletes are competing in each round? And I think our progression chart, I showed it earlier, it pretty much breaks down in both. See, there's a barrel racing graphic and a team roping graphic, and it shows 16 athletes in the fast track, number 5 through 64 in the leaderboard pool, 18 athletes in the Elite 18. The qualifier rounds, we won't know for sure until entries close, but there have been some questions on this progressive round. How many athletes will actually be in the progressive round? And for sure, 12 athletes that did not advance to the main event from this Elite 18 round go into the progressive. And then 10 athletes, the top 10 fastest times from the redemption round, get in. But then let me go back to this. We have a chart in the ground rules that show, based on entries in both the Pro pool and the Challenger pool in the Open to the World, will determine how many advance. So at a maximum, if there's over 91 athletes that enter in each pool, 4 from the round 1, 4 fastest times from round 1, 4 fastest times from round 2, and 10 from the aggregate advance into the progressive round. And I think, Scott, maybe we counted that up to 58 or something like that. But
right.
Yeah, just know that depending on entries in the Open to the World qualifying round will determine how many actually advance to the progressive round. Anything to add there, Scott? Pretty strict.
No,
Clear.
I think you laid that out pretty perfectly. I mean, the charts are in the ground rules. The ground rules are on the website. It's a great question, but I think obviously we've done our best to project the amount of people that are going to advance. But at the end of the day, it depends on how many entries we have, and we won't know that until we close them.
Yeah, and Marcus asked us in the team roping, what happens if both partners advance to that main event or the final round? Would you have to pick? And Marcus, great question. What happens is, let me go back to this chart of the progression. So in the team roping here, all of these qualifying rounds will get us down to this main event where the first round will have 24 headers and 24 heelers. Once we know who those 24 are, then we'll actually reopen pairings and confirm of those 24 who's actually roping together. So all athletes can only advance to this main event one time, and they will have to, at that point, choose who they're going to rope with. But great question. So then we'll just wrap up our live quickly and talk about some of these logistics with stalls. Some of you have been waiting now that we have relocated to Texas, how much stalls cost, where you can reserve them. All stall reservations are open at openstalls.com. The cost is $175 a stall for the week. That does not include shaving. Shavings down here are $13 a bag. For those of you competing at the Cowgirl Gathering event, just know if you're competing at both places, it's the same rate, just that $175 per stall. Or if you're just coming in for the Cowgirl Gathering on November 13th through the 15th, it's $100. Stall mats will be available. And yes, for those of you that are number 1 through 4 on the leaderboard as of October 18th, and those of you that have won a fast track qualification, you are guaranteed 1 stall per discipline. And our team will contact you directly to reserve those stalls. You do not need to do anything at openstalls.com if you've reserved that, or if you've received that complimentary stall. And then lastly, those RV reservations will be available. Just more details to come, and it'll all be at openstalls.com. And then lastly, if you have booked a gold package, our team will be in contact with you. You're welcome to email us too, but you will have the option to just keep everything. Or you could maybe change your hotel to an RV. There's all kinds of options that we'll present to those of you that have received the gold packages. And just so you know, those gold packages are not available anymore. But if you need help reserving a hotel, we'll be sharing that information soon with all athletes too. 2 minutes to spare.
Nice. Well done.
Closing.
Every time JD's on, we go over. I'm just saying. No, I'm just picking on JD. Just
we
picking
miss
on
JD.
Mostly me doing the talking anyway. No, I'm kidding. Well, I would have liked to have seen some more questions, you know, but maybe we're doing a great job of explaining things. Lots of intricacies to this event, but all set up for the athlete to be successful and to help control the elements and the things that the athlete can't control. So it's just going to be exciting as we get closer to the event. More information will be available. You pointed out that those folks that bought the gold packages, or any of those that had already purchased stalls through openstalls.com, we will be contacting all of them and rectifying those situations as needed. For those of you that haven't yet entered or booked your stall, get entered, book your stall.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, one more reminder, November 8th through the 15th, the first ever Women's Rodeo World Championship will be taking place in Fort Worth, Texas. And our championship top 6 round will be inside AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, during, not like before or a couple hours after, during the PBR World Finals performances. We will be crowning our champions, awarding them a $60,000 check, and we'll also be crowning the all-around champion, which is a $20,000 check as well. So,
and a coat saddle, and a beautiful coat saddle to that all-around champion. So cash prize to the all-around, which is not very common, and we hope to increase over time. I'm looking forward to that all-around race. That's going to be pretty interesting. We were on a call with our focus group the other day, and one of the barrel racers was giving Larry D a hard time about how she ought to enter the barrel race, and I don't think we'll see that, but hey, listen, there's no telling what we're going to see in this all-around race. So it's going to be pretty cool. 20 grand, right? I mean, I know you posted the payout earlier, but 60,000 to the champ, 20,000 to second. It just goes down from there. It's going to be a fantastic event. All the media elements are there. So we're really excited to produce this, and it's an inaugural year. We've come out smelling like a rose based on the challenges that COVID has presented us, as well as everyone in the industry, and tremendous opportunity for women in rodeo right now. And I'm just proud and happy to be a part of it and visit with you for a little while on Facebook today.
Well, and thank you to everyone that joined us. Please share this video with your friends, tag anybody that you think may find this information beneficial, and do not ever hesitate to reach out to our team. You can call 833-368-3787 or email support@WCRArodeo.com, and we can answer all of your questions. So have a great rest of your Wednesday, everybody, and we'll see you next week.